I have a very important guest right next to me, Miss Mee Tracy McCormick. This is her book, and how I cooked my way out of chronic autoimmune disease and prevented cancer with whole foods and healing recipes. This is an amazing headline. This is an amazing subject. Thank you so much, Miss McCormick, coming to our studios and interviewing with us. I'm very honored personally and on behalf of our audience. Can you tell us about yourself first, and then how you cook your way out of the chronic autoimmune disease? Well, we need to also know the diseases.
Yes, well, I was not a cook. I did not know how to cook, and I shopped via the package and the picture on the box. So I was a terrible cook, and I was a processed food junkie, and I got really sick. Started when I was 25, and ironically, my mother was very sick at 25 years old herself. And I watched my mother suffer and died at 39. And she had a digestive autoimmune disease, Crohn's disease.
Crohn's disease.
And
That's
she
a
didn't
very serious disease.
Very serious, and she didn't get well. And so when I got sick, really sick, by 34, I had a young daughter who was 5 years old, and I looked in her face and I saw myself as a child. And I thought, she doesn't have to inherit this, because it doesn't have to be inherited. And I'm not going to go out like that. And so I changed my life, and I changed my plate, and I changed my fate.
How did you change it? Because cancer and Crohn's disease, autoimmune diseases, are very serious. And according to general belief, they are not curable.
Well,
but you cured yourself out of it.
I am a different person. I was 89 pounds. I couldn't swallow water. I couldn't eat anything. And I had a hole in my small intestine, and I was hemorrhaging to death, a slow, long death. And cooking does affect us, because our body is meant to receive nutrition so that we have health. And when we're not eating food that's packed with nutrition, this is a different conversation than calories and fat. This is a conversation about wellness and eating for our wellness. And when we eat for our wellness, our body can receive it. So autoimmune disease and cancer, because they thought I had a 50% chance of small intestinal cancer. And aggressive Crohn's disease leads into digestive cancer as well as colitis. So it only made sense that to bring my body back into balance, I had to support my intestines. I had to support the place in my body where it receives nutrition, which are called the villi. And they're the little fingers that grab all the good stuff.
You said sorry about this. You said your survival rate was 50% or less.
It was probably less. I mean, if I had kept going.
Because you had two.
Yeah, I was super sick, and I wasn't able to eat. So if you can't eat, you can't get well.
How did you start eating, and what did you do?
Well, I was overwhelmed because I thought I have no time. I work. I have two small children. How can I do it? And I just got in my kitchen and I tried. And it was a disaster at first, and it was nasty food. But every day I thought, well, you know what? I can do this. And I made a commitment to myself. And luckily, my husband believed in me, and he ate the mush. And so I started out with real food, nothing out of a canned box jar, nothing from the freezer, everything fresh, the way our grandparents cooked. Nothing weird and different. In fact, it was all ancestral food from all over the world. So I began to eat probiotic foods instead of taking a pill. And you know, I'm not against probiotic pills, but again, it's the thought, well, I'll just take a pill. We need to eat a variety of probiotic foods as they do globally.
What is a probiotic
Sauerkraut
food?
that's been fermented, shoyu sauce or tamari that's fermented in Japanese. Let's see what else. Pickles that are fermented in the old-fashioned way.
Is yogurt a probiotic food?
Yogurt is probiotic, and it's really good for you if you make it yourself, because once it's been packaged, it loses its strength.
It's very common in Turkey and other European countries, and we make our own yogurt.
You make your own kefirs too there.
Kefirs
That's
too.
a probiotic food.
It is, okay.
And Americans and other parts of the country and all over the world have lost their relationship with eating probiotic foods. So we always knew to eat to support our digestive tract. And now we're losing that. We're forgetting that. We're forgetting the importance of why we eat. And we eat for wellness.
This is a very important statement. We eat for wellness, but we are surrounded by sodas, by juice drinks, by candies that are high fructose, high corn syrup.
Corn syrup and sugar.
And sugar.
And that throws off the immune system in your small intestine. So if those villi, if that intestinal tract is covered in sugar, and that means it's covered in unhealthy bacteria, which weakens the body and weakens the villi's ability to receive nutrition. So what we have all over our world is an issue of excess. We have too much at our fingertips. And it's too easy. And we've moved into a relationship with convenience, and we've lost our value. And when we lose our value, we lose our wellness. And we lose our wellness, we lose our health. and that's our wealth.
How do we refrain ourselves from the intake of sugar when we're surrounded by them? What is the substitute?
The substitute is to change your palate. So what happens is when you say no to the sugar, see, you have to get your mind right. So when your mind is right, your table's right. So you change your mind. You change your point of view. You reconnect with yourself. You form a relationship with yourself.
Hard work.
When you have a relationship with yourself, you have a relationship with what you're feeding yourself. And so you say, you know, I'm not going to have that. I'm going to have this. And sometimes you can go for something a little more savory, and that will curb your sugar craving.
In this book, I kind of, went through, and there are tons of recipes. Are they healing recipes? And how do we make this a routine, everyday table recipe?
It's a habit. It's just like going to the gym and deciding I'm going to exercise. Well, we have to say, you know what, I have to be at work at 6:30 in the morning. I'm going to get up at 5. I'm going to make sure that I go to bed at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and I'm going to get up at 5, and I'm going to cook my dinner. I'm a farmer's wife. On a farm throughout the world, people and women that work on farms work harder than anybody else. They cook food at 5 a.m. and they come in at 3 and they eat dinner.
How long does it take to cook these recipes?
I knock out a full meal in about 45 minutes.
That's it?
Yeah, and then I leave it. I put it in the
Takes me
refrigerator. Well, you form a habit. Again, it's like how far can you run when you start running?
That's right.
You can only run around the block. But if you run every day, you're going to get faster. You're going to get stronger. You're going to get gain confidence and clarity. It's the same thing. And I tell people, don't judge yourself. Don't beat yourself up over your food choices, and don't think about what you can't have. Think about what you can have. And when you look at what you can have way more than you ever ate before.
So this book is not only recipes, but it also talks about a lifestyle and changing it. And I like it a lot because of that. If you were to have 3 bullet points in revolutionizing your life and changing it around, and so that most of us have some of the diseases or start to the disease because of the processed foods around us. Autoimmune disease, for the audience who have autoimmune diseases, cancer. What are the, let's say, 3 or 4, or maybe you have more bullets that you can advise to the audience?
The first thing I say is form a relationship with your food. Pay attention to what you're eating, and then find your excess, because each person has a different excess. So to say that one diet is the perfect diet for all of us isn't going to work, because we have different excesses. And so find your excess and then stop, because you have to rotate your foods. Once you have your mindfulness down, then you start to form a relationship with what you haven't eaten and start adding in new things. So every week, try to change your food. Try to find something new to add in. Start with 1 recipe a week, and then the next week 2. It's with that running thing, the exercise. Consistency and gradual. And the third thing is be mindful of your sugar, because that takes you down. But also pay attention that you're preparing 1 full, complete meal from scratch a week, and then work towards 5.
I love that. Okay, last but not least, if you were to recommend one recipe that is like wonders, a magical recipe.
My favorite recipe in the book is a lentils, sweet potatoes, coconut, miso soup. It is so yummy. It's savory and sweet, and it is antifungal with the coconut milk added in the end. It's probiotic with the miso. The lentils are great for supporting the digestive tract. They're packed with magnesium, which aids in aches and pains, and the sweet potatoes are loaded with beta-carotene. Kids love it. It's super easy to make. You can whip it up in 20 minutes, and it will give you the confidence to try the next recipe.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
You're fabulous.
Oh, you are too.
I am very impressed because you experienced this yourself, and you manifested the effects and benefits of healthy living and healthy cooking, and especially these recipes. Again, this book is called My Kitchen Cure. We were with Miss Mee Tracy McCormick. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Evet, sohbetimiz burada sona erdi. Söz tekrar sizde İstanbul'da.